No, they hook 'em horns, it's like their stupid thing. Okay, and we do, welcome back, fellow babies, to this week's edition of Pach-Attack. From the forums, a question from Mr. Gawain. Dear Mr. Pachter, do you think the idea of the celebrity executive is a good thing for the games industry? With the advent of Twitter and the YouTube coverage of such events as E3 and Nintendo Direct, executives, producers, and even programmers are scrutinized for every word they say and how they look and act in front of the camera. Worked well for Apple with Steve Jobs, who is telegenic, but do you think it's sensible that a CEO who isn't good in front of the camera or isn't deemed to be a real gamer by the fans is used as a spokesperson? I think this level of internet fame actually affects some of those people's workload and ability to do their jobs. Let me answer the last question first. The level of internet fame isn't going to affect anybody. Nobody cares, and frankly, none of them are going to be famous on the internet. I can't think of a celebrity executive other than Iwata, and he's terrible. I think that he's terrible. He's a terrible executive, and he's terrible on camera. Riccatello was hardly a celebrity. I mean, I guess just because they televised E3, or Don Matrick because they televised E3. That was their 15 minutes of fame a year. They weren't on TV all the time. No, I don't think it hurts their ability to do their job. Back to the first question, do you think the idea is a good thing for the games industry? I think anything that elevates awareness of what these guys are doing is great for the industry. I think that it's paramount for them to make games as mainstream an activity as possible. I don't mean every game mainstream, but I mean get everybody to accept them. What you can't have is you can't have some deranged nutcase go kill a bunch of kids at an elementary school and have the press blame it on games. And if the press understands what games are and who plays them, they're going to realize that playing Call of Duty didn't make that kid go kill those little children. That's just not why he did it. He did it because he's a nutcase. And so I think it's really important to educate the world about who plays games, and it's real people. I think one of my favorite game ads, mainstream game and a mainstream ad, was 2 or 3 years ago, and they've done it every year since. The Call of Duty ad that showed Jimmy Kimmel and Kobe Bryant, and I forgot there were women in the ad, women actresses, but I mean famous women, America Ferrera or somebody, they were playing Call of Duty. It was like, but they weren't playing the game, they were running around with weapons, and like they were soldiers. And I thought that was a brilliant ad. I think that the Guitar Hero ads were really good, when they had the guys from American Idol. That was great. It's mainstream, it's advertised to mainstream, it lets people see that the guys playing Call of Duty really are Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, and those guys talking about it makes it acceptable, which means you can enjoy it if you're still a kid living at home because your parents are more tolerant of it. When I was a kid, and I know none of you guys actually believe A, that I played games, or B, that they had them back when I was a kid. When I was a kid playing games, my parents would whack me on the side of the head, which is why my head is slanted, and tell me to get the hell outside and get some fresh air because they thought that there was something wrong with me for playing games. There still are people who think there's something wrong with it, but they tend to be a lot older and haven't played games. I think, if you elevate awareness by having celebrity executives, it's great for the industry and great for gamers ultimately. From the site, from MickSoft. Hola, Senor Pachter. I'm from Mexico, and we get all game and console releases the same day as the US, and actually pre-orders are crazy down here. Why does the industry never mention Latin America when talking about sales in the industry in general? If there actually is a huge market here, at least in Mexico, are the Latin American sales figures included in US sales, or do they just not have a tracking system for that? Good question. I mean, the answer is that some companies talk about North American sales, so they lump Canada and Mexico in. They do not include the balance of Latin America, so Central and South America aren't included. The NPD tracks US only, not Canada, not Mexico. I don't think there's a service that's analogous in Mexico, so I don't think that there is anybody tracking it. Obviously, the individual publishers know exactly what their sales are, but the publishers, when they report, most of them talk about North American sales, so it's US plus Canada plus Mexico. As far as the size of the Mexican market, I would say it's a stretch that it's 10% as big as the US. It's probably 7 or 8% as big, so it's a very meaningful market, but it's not going to move the needle. If somebody says a game sold 2 million copies, then add in Mexican sales, 2.15 million. It's 150,000 in Mexico. Not that meaningful, but obviously they like your money and they like to spend it, and they're glad you're spending it. So hasta la vista, baby. From the forum, from I Eating Fish, Mr. Pack, since every Xbox One will come with a camera, do you think we will see game developers put more effort into utilizing the camera when developing games for the Xbox One? Good question. Game developers in the conventional sense, probably not. I think you will see some, but not very many. Game developers in the indie sense, yes. I think that recently, I'm not sure if Microsoft's announced it or I read this just on a Game Informer article, but Microsoft has apparently turned every Xbox One into a dev kit, and they're making the ability to get the toolkit and make a game and post it up for sale on Xbox Live really easy. I mean, apparently the same as making an iPhone game and working with the App Store. And I think that opens up the number of developers from a couple of hundred a year to tens of thousands a year, and I think those tens of thousands are going to get really innovative with the equipment. So yes, I think that's going to be really fun. That's something I'm really looking forward to. Sony stole E3 by being the friend of the indie. Microsoft's kind of redeeming itself later in the summer. Looks like they're even more friendly to the indie, and I think indies, all you have to do is buy an Xbox One, you have a dev kit, and you can just run with it. They're going to come up with some really cool stuff. So I think you will see camera stuff, just not from AAA developers. All right, fellow babies, thanks for joining us this week. If you have a question, you can direct them to the link below. And if you would like to address them to me on Twitter, I'm at Michael Pachter. You have to copy at GameTrailers, and you have to add the hashtag AskPach, that's P-A-C-H if you spell my name right. If you do send a Twitter request to me directly and you follow me, I'm happy to send you a direct message and I'll answer you directly.
Wasting your breath.